Alrighty, everybody. So here we are. It is currently June 12th. So we're about 11 days out from my ultra marathon. I have had time to kind of reflect and recover. And I'm going to kind of tell you guys, or I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell you guys how I've been feeling after the race, walk you through what was going on during the race, and really just go through everything with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, I want to tell you guys some stats, and I posted this on my Instagram a couple days ago. So distance of a 100-kilometer race is 62 miles. The official time, according to when I came back into the aid station for the fourth time, was 12 hours, 52 minutes, and 12 seconds. According to my watch, I left it going a little bit because I wanted to actually hit my number. If you look at the last video that I did on YouTube, I looked down at my watch when I was almost done, and I still had like 3/4 of a mile left to do. So I kept my watch on, and I just walked around a little bit until I hit 62. So that was good. I did that. Ascent and descent was about 3,000 feet. So I knew this was going to be a much less hilly race than Wawayanda 50 miler was. That one was 5,000 feet in 50 miles. This one was 3,000 feet in 62 miles. So much less hilly, but still good amount of climbing for 62-mile race. The time that I spent running was 10 hours and 2 minutes. The time that I spent walking was 2 hours and 10 minutes. And my idle time, which is just the time that I was either not moving, taking a dip in the river, back to the base camp, that total time was 54 minutes and 22 seconds. Each lap was 25K. So it was a 100K race, 25 laps, 25K, 4 laps. Not 25 laps, that'd be a lot. 25K is about 15 and a half miles. So each lap went something like this. Lap number 1, my expected pace was 10 minutes. 10:30. My expected pace was 10:30. I kind of crushed that at 9:44. My first lap took me 2 hours and 31 minutes. Lap number 2, I expected a pace of 11:30. My actual pace was 11:17. The time on that one was 2 hours, 54 minutes, and 55 seconds. Lap number 3, I also expected an 11:30 pace. Lap number 3, or really lap number 2, is when my stomach started cramping really badly. I had a bad cramp in my abdomen on the left side, and that forced me to walk a little bit more than I wanted to. That's fine, but my actual pace on lap number 3 was 14:42. So a lot of walking in lap number 3. My time for lap number 3, total time, was 3 hours and 48 minutes. This was 48 minutes slower than what I wanted to do. So a little discouraging on that third lap. Lap number 4, I wanted to do a 12:30 pace. So lap number 4, my actual pace was 14. So even though I didn't hit my goal pace of 12:30, I did get faster on the 4th lap compared to the 3rd lap. And my total time was 3 hours and 37 minutes. I placed 9th out of 25 people in the 100K. I was tied for the second youngest finisher in the 100K race. I believe there were over 200 participants in the race on race day. So a lot of fun, going out, racing with a lot of people, a lot different than my previous races at Wawayanda, where it was, instead of out and backs, they were loops. So everyone was going the same direction. So you were rarely seeing anybody on these laps aside from when you got back to the base camp. This was a lot different because you were constantly seeing people going the same direction as you, going the opposite direction as you, multiple base camps, or multiple aid stations rather. And I think that I prefer when you are able to see more people, holds you a little bit more accountable. You're not just feeling all alone out in the middle of nowhere, which is what Wawayanda kind of felt like. And then on to nutrition. My estimated calories burned was about 8,000, a little under 9,000 for the entire day. My estimated calories consumed was about 3,200, 1,600 of those coming from gels. I had 16 gels that each have 100 calories. Do the math. My estimated sweat loss, and again, I'm not sure how accurate this data is from Garmin. I know that most fitness watches and fitness trackers are a wide degree of freedom off, let's say. My estimated sweat loss was 346 ounces, which is 2.7 gallons. Almost 3 gallons of sweat lost. And my water intake was about 60 ounces. I was consuming about 15 ounces of water per lap. So definitely could have done a little bit more on the water intake side of it. And that kind of goes into the next part, the next stat, which was the last one that I have, which is my bathroom breaks. I only had 2 bathroom breaks. And during a 13-hour window, that is not a whole lot. I should have probably been consuming a lot more water. And again, that's just an estimate. I probably consumed plus or minus 10 from 60, so 50 to 70, probably on the higher side, to be honest. But still, I lost a lot of sweat, and I didn't really make up for it. One thing that I was really happy about in this race that didn't happen so much during my Wawayanda race was my electrolyte consumption and my cramping, because I had terrible cramps in my quads, in my hamstrings during Wawayanda. And granted, it was a different trail. It was much more elevation, but this was 62 miles and I've never run that far before. So I think my preparation and discipline in taking my electrolytes was much better. And as soon as I started to feel, some crampiness in my quads and my hammies and my calves start to kick in, I would immediately put 2 or 3 scoops of electrolytes into my water bottle, handheld, so that I could go out and stay hydrated in this race. A little bit about race day. So race day started at 7 a.m. and Kelsey and I stayed the night before in a little town called Chester. The race was in Chesterfield. We were staying in Chester. Got there at around 6:15. Checked in, got my bib, and I'm looking at my bib right now, actually. They had a bib station where you're picking up your bib, but they also had I can't remember what they called it, like a gemming station or a bling. That's what they called it. That's what they called it, a bling station, where they had like little stickers of, whatever they're called, like bedazzle your bib. So I put 1 on there. And then when I wasn't looking, Kelsey put on like 5 more. So there's like six blings on there, which made it kind of fun and kind of unique. So I like that. Went back to the car after we checked in. I ate my breakfast before we left. So all I had to do was drink a little bit of caffeine with my mocktail concoction, my pre-race concoction, which is, this is a little secret for you guys. My pre-race concoction is a tart cherry juice base. So tart cherry juice is a supplement that has been studied to help increase blood flow because of the polyphenols that are in it. And basically the polyphenols just help with blood transfer throughout the body and oxygen transfer throughout the body. So it is super beneficial for endurance runners. So I had my tart cherry juice. I had a scoop of caffeine. I had a scoop of creatine. I had 2 packets of Huma mixed berry electrolytes, which are absolutely delicious and my favorite flavor of electrolytes. And I threw that down the hatch. I did that about 30 minutes prior to race. So this was around 6:30 to 6:45. And as soon as 6:45 hit, I was out of the car doing some of my pre-warm-up stretches and lining up at the start line. I don't want to go too in depth with this because you can see a lot of this on my last YouTube video, like I was saying, but race starts at 7. We go out and I'm feeling really good in that first lap, obviously. It was nice and cool. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt and I was kind of ripping it. I was running pretty fast in that first lap and I felt really good. The second lap was tough, like I said. I think the main reason that I got that cramp was because of two possible things. One, my pre-race nutrition the night before the race may not have been the best. And I think that's because I had a dinner that I wasn't used to. Kelsey and I went to this restaurant in Chester. This town maybe had 4 buildings in it. One of the buildings was this restaurant, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was playing live music. So we went, we sat down. Well, actually, we were asked if we had a reservation, which I thought was funny because there was 30 open tables asking us if we had a reservation, like they needed us to have a reservation. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but let's let bygones be bygones and we'll just let them have that one. So I tried getting the most basic thing that I saw on the menu, and I was looking for pasta. I was looking for some kind of pasta dish because I usually always have pasta the last few nights before a race. So looking for a pasta dish, I couldn't find a regular pasta dish. So what I got was this bowl of, I think it was egg noodles with vegetables in a sauce. And the sauce was a curry sauce, which is a bad idea to have, something spicy the day before a race, especially if you don't usually do that. So that was kind of dumb on my part, but I figured, hey, pasta is pasta, and I don't know why I didn't think too much into it, but I should have thought a little bit more into it, to be quite honest. I think it was a combination of having that and the heat. The heat played a pretty big factor in my race. I was feeling it in the unshaded areas of the race. Unshaded areas were between mile 6 and really around mile 7. No, that's right. Yeah, 6 to 8 or 9. So let's say like 6 to 9. That's when the unshaded part was. So that one was a little bit tough, dealing with the heat. I think because of my lack of hydration, that also could have played a factor into it. So my pre-race nutrition the night before, the heat, along with me not hydrating super properly, especially with electrolytes. I was fueling with electrolytes throughout the race, but that was really only until after I felt that cramp coming on. And then from there on, I was, stocking up with electrolytes every time I would come back to base camp, 2, 3, 4 scoops. The cramp in mile 2 set me back a little bit, which is totally fine because I am really proud of how I finished. And I think that's the most important part, is that I finished really, really strong. I didn't stop running for the last 6 miles of the race. It felt so good to be able to run again. And I just took it and ran with it. And there were some people that passed me while I was still dealing with the cramping and the fatigue of the heat. But once it cooled down and once my cramping went away, I was able to pass them again. So, and not that I was necessarily racing really hard against these other people, but still goes to show you that I felt really confident about what I was doing and how I was feeling. So I think that's about it for the actual race itself. After the race, I was feeling okay. I was walking around a little bit, sat in the car. Kelsey got us pizza, which I was super thankful for. Even though I wasn't really that hungry. My stomach wasn't agreeing with food. Not that I was getting sick or anything, but it didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel hungry at all, which is strange because I just ran 62 miles and I burned about 8,000 calories, but I just didn't want to eat. I only ate about half that pizza, when on a normal day, I bet I could eat the full pizza, which is, I just felt a little bit strange with that. Hobbling around once we got out of the car, but that's fine. Showering was hard. Getting my leg to lift up over the little bathtub in our Airbnb to get into the shower. Going up the stairs was obviously hard. And when we got back to Connecticut, we basically went right to bed. I knew that I probably was not going to sleep once we got back and tried to go to bed. I knew that as soon as we got in the car going back home, because after 62 miles, you would expect me to be dead tired, wanting to go to sleep, and not be able to, speak or do anything. But it was the total opposite. I was talking Kelsey's ear off the entire time. I could not stay in like a calm state. My nervous system was all wired, and that's the right word for it. I was wired. I was totally awake the entire time. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's because at least I was there to keep Kelsey some company while she was driving. Shout out to Kelsey for driving us back all the way to Connecticut after my race. Thank you. I love you. And it rolled over when I tried to go to sleep. And from my past experience now that I am more experienced, I knew that after my 50-mile race, it was very hard and very uncomfortable for me to lay in bed still, and that caused me to not get great sleep the next couple of nights after that. So that's kind of what I was expecting, and it happened. So that I was able to deal with that a little bit better than last time. The nights after the race, probably 2-3 nights after the race, not getting a whole lot of sleep, not getting a whole lot of good sleep, but after those 3 or 4 days, my soreness went away, my sleep started getting a lot better, and my post-race plan. So my plan after I ran for the next couple of days and weeks was this. I wanted to take the entire week off of everything, the first week of everything. When I did my 50-miler, I did stupidly went for a lift on Tuesday after my Saturday race. And I also tried going for a run that week. So I was way too ambitious and I came back way too quick. I had a lot of overuse injuries that prevented me from doing anything. And then I got sick the week after. So I did not want that to happen again. I stuck to the plan of not doing anything last week. I had my first workout 2 days ago. So it's Wednesday right now. And I had my workout on Monday. I am incredibly sore from that workout. I have not had a heavy or a high intensity workout day in like 3 or 4 weeks, just because of my taper and where I was at in my race plan. So I'm going for another workout today, leg day. I'm actually a little bit scared for it, to be quite honest. It's a heavy leg day, so we'll see how I do, and I'll film this one too, so I can kind of explain what's going on with this. I don't plan on going for a run until next Monday. So I wanted to take 2 full weeks off of running, 1 full week off of lifting. So that's kind of what the plan is right now. And the last little thing that I want to touch on is just my overall reflections from the race. So to be quite honest, the finishes of this race and the last race, the 50-miler, so drastically different. There could not be more of a stark difference here. After my 50-miler, I was emotional, I was crying, I was hugging, and that didn't happen in this race. I think that was because possibly 2 reasons. One reason being that during my 50-miler, my dad was there, Kelsey was there, Winnie was there, Kara was there, my dad's girlfriend, and that made it feel really, really special. And not that this one wasn't special. This one was another challenge, another step forward. And I worked really hard and I set out a goal and I accomplished it. So this one was also special. But for some reason, seeing my family there made me more emotional, because the Buffalo Marathon that I did last May and how that didn't go my way, and this being the next race that I did, set me up for a really emotional finish, because that was an emotional finish this was almost like a redemption, and it was emotional. For the 100K, I didn't feel that same kind of weight on my shoulders. So this one was more fun. And not that it wasn't hard, not that it wasn't emotional, but when I got done with that race, it wasn't as emotionally taxing. So I didn't feel the need to, display my emotions so much. It wasn't as emotionally challenging. During my 50 miler, I had never run anywhere past 35 miles before. For this one, I knew it was only 12 more miles with less elevation. So not that I don't feel as fulfilled from it, because I don't think that's the right word, but it's something in the ballpark where I'm still hungry and I still want to do something more. And I told Kelsey that I think a 12-hour race is my cap. I told her that right after the 100K, but I changed my mind. And I think that there's more out there for me. And I want to challenge myself more. And I want to challenge you guys to set some goals that challenge yourselves more. Do something that scares you. Because if you're not doing something that scares you, you're not really living. And you're not really growing. I have some big plans for 2025. Nothing's confirmed yet, but I'm excited and ready to conquer whatever is in store for me next. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.